Billy Graham's Personal Pocket Bible Handwriting Forensic Study. So basically, the background behind this Bible is I was very involved with storage lockers, and I found this Bible in a small safe in a storage locker in Venice, Florida. And Venice is actually one of the first places that Billy Graham visited when he started his evangelical association, which is well documented. You can see those things online. That's how I found out. So Venice was an early location for his evangelical events. And this is not a autograph. This is more of a book plate ownership type of handwriting that would be found in a book in the 40s when people owned their own books. They put their names in the book so that it would be returned or to show ownership. Books were kind of like laptops, tablets, and phones back in the day. They were kind of expensive, and you cherished what you had. So this is more of a early 40s handwriting identification bookplate for this Bible. And we'll show you here. We basically have three different exemplars. This early 40s handwriting note that was written to his wife or girlfriend at the time, sorry. And this early 80s note to somebody named Bill that was JSA authenticated, and another bookplate type of autograph, a formal autograph that is much later, actually not later, much later, it's from 78 as well, so two mid lifespan autograph and handwriting samples there. So 78, 81, and 43, which I believe the Bible itself would be from the 40s. So what I'm doing is taking samples of the handwriting from the letters and overlaying them on top of the handwriting that is in the back of the Bible to show how his handwriting matches the handwriting in the Bible very similarly in angles, in ins and outs from letter to letter, heights, widths, and some varying, very different things, crossings of the T's out of letters into letters and those kinds of things. So let's go ahead and start here. We can start with the fullness back down here on the bottom. I chose this because it has the double S, which you see in the double S here in the association, and then the L's here, and even this U going into the Y. And we'll look at the angle of this F compared to the angle of the Y in Billy. So we take this and overlay this onto the S's here. You can see basically they follow exactly ins and outs, same exact angles, same spacing, and these were not altered in any way. These snippets, they were taken from there and then just sized to match the size that I have here of the specimen. So you can see the S's there match perfectly. The angles on the ins and the outs of the L's are basically the same there. The out of the second L is basically the same. If you take the U in fullness, it's the same as the Y. And if you kind of look here, I guess the angle of the F at the top of the Y is exactly the same. So that's three keys there. You can probably even take the N here on the gram. There, ins and outs on the H, ins and outs on the N, Here's another H, ins and outs on the hump on the N, on the H. You've got the double L's again, which match up angles, heights, all those kinds of things are basically exactly the same. The backbone of the L is exactly the same. Here's the S. You have basically the same exact ins and outs, ups and downs, size. Everything matches exactly. The A here, the back of the A out to the L matches exactly. Even the shape of this A to the association A, and then the ins and outs of the A. So the shall there, that matches perfectly. Tonight we have two T's, and these T's you'll see cross at exactly the same height, and then the ins and outs into the other letters. So exactly where here, now not the same height, but just the cross where they cross. And if you look at that N, it's exactly the same letter. Here's another H. The hump on the H out is exact. Let's see what else can we look at here. Even the shape of the O to the A's, the bottom of the O here to the A's, perfectly the same. Even the H or the Y and the G, that downstroke is exactly the same. The height of the back is exactly the same. If we look at the T here again, the bottom of the T to the cross of the T is the same height. The O compared to the A's, same basic shape, same basic height, top to bottom, width, all of those kinds of things matching perfectly. The G, again, the angle of the tail of the G and the Y. Here's another T that's going to match up with the bottom with the cross. So the bottom here, the cross of the T matches up exactly. What else can we show here? That's basically it for that. This NC, this comes from the piece over here. This right here. So this is from this comes from right here in this this area here. Now these look very different, but they're actually very, very similar. So this C does, to the naked eye, doesn't look like that, but if you take it and you overlay it, it has exactly the same shape. And then if you overlay the N, exactly the same shape. Address. Here in the address sample, which comes from this letter right here, address. So here you'll see the shape of the A's and the D's and the S's. We'll overlay those, the angles of the D's compared to the L's. So if we take the A's, especially like here, ins and out of the A's. Now this letter is from 1981, so we can expect some changes in the handwriting, probably a little more fluid, a little smoother. And so here are the S's. So we take the S's and overlay them. Basically exactly the same shape, height, form. The D's in comparison to the backs of the L's there. The bottom of the D coming out right here, you'll see. In up the D and out is exactly the same. Here, this A here. So the overall back and the bottom, the dip here into the back of the A is the same, and then coming out of the A into the next letter is going to match. So that's the address there. If we take this EANT, which is from that same letter, I don't remember which portion of it is, but you take that and put it over, the outs and the A's. Same basic principle. Shape, size, hoops and dips and bottoms, ins and outs are almost exact matches. The N, you can see here, we just roll this over here, right here, this Z-looking formation out of this letter into the N is a spot-on match. The T, lining up the cross of the T to the bottom of the T here is an exact match. Even the angle of the cross. Now here we have the gram. Now this signature is from the letter here. So this is taking this gram portion here and overlaying it on top of this gram, which they look very, very different. But what you'll see is when we put this portion, the down swoop of the back of the G, and we match it up with the down at the back of this G, they match. And then this signature is much more fluent, but you can see the overall length of both of them is exact. So not only does this match up, the spacing between all of the letters is basically exactly the same. And then if we move it and just move this up here, look at the M, the back of the M out and in matches, the height of the H hump here matches, the A matches. So again, this is this is 40 years almost difference, and the structure of the signature width height is the same, just got a little bit more graceful. If we look at the V here, so again, go to the T, the bottom of the T, swoop out the cross, exactly the same location, out of the one letter into the next letter, exactly the same. H, the hump here, exactly the same format. And what else can we look at here? That's it for the V. Here's a my, I guess, from one of the letters. If you look at this here, the formation of the top of the Y, it's going to overlay perfectly with the formation of the Billy Y at the top. It's going to start at the same angle down the tail, but overall you can see this, it fits within the same formation. It overlays perfectly. And take it over here to the N, and you're going to see very similar formations there. Even up here, this is going to have a similar in and out on the M there. So I don't know if it matches anything else, but you can see all the angles. The angles are all the same. The angle of the Y there and the N. So all of his downstrokes have the same angle. That one matches pretty well too. Same as the L's. Here's the U. Here's another Y with a U. So again, same formation at the bottom, out of the Y, same angles. So here's another L, same angles. Now this here, obviously he writes his name pretty frequently, I would guess. So this is the bill in the Billy, this right here. And then this is the bill from the letter at the top of the letter here. So if we take this ill from the bill at the bottom of the oldest letter, you'll see the L's, everything matches exactly the same. Even basically the form, the shape of the formation at the bottom of the I, the outs and ins to each letter. It's the same. It's the same handwriting. And then this is the bill from the 1981 letter, and you'll see here that when we put this over here, it is exactly the same overlay. The bottom of the B, the back of the B, the I, the L. So with all of this, I hope that you can see from 3 different verified specimens that there's not evidence of coincidence, that this Bible matches exactly the authentic letter to Bill's girlfriend, wife at the time, an authentic letter from JSA, and another authenticated book signing that touches a couple different spots. So that's that. I appreciate your time. Thank you.